to present a poem. What shall I do?
What will you do? Is this a question? Show that you know the poem and remind them what a poem it is. Well, you know what you must do. Go, confront the problem, fight, win, and call me when you get back, darling. I enjoy our visits.
Welcome to the Poetry Dojo,
where we learn to know our poems.
and learn to wield them to fight and win.
Today we are considering Growltiger's Last Stand by T.S. Eliot.
Growltiger's Last Stand is a poem from T.S. Eliot's Old Possum's Book of Practical Cats, which
Has a lot of poems about cats in
has
it.
a lot of poems about cats. And I believe this is the first one we reviewed. And it is of note, it's got to be mentioned that, yes, Andrew Lloyd Webber made a musical about that T.S. Eliot's book. However, Growltiger's Last Stand is no longer included in it because it has a racial epithet in it, which is the reality of the poem at the time.
Yeah. So we will read it as T.S. Eliot wrote it.
As T.S. Eliot wrote it. It is of note, it's understandable that people can take offense at such things. It is also worth noting that if we are going to excise all sin from any given work of man, there will be nothing left. And so sometimes you plow over things not because they are good, but because they are there. Growltiger's Last Stand by T.S. Eliot. Growltiger was a Bravo cat who lived upon a barge. In fact, he was the roughest cat that had ever roamed at large. From Gravesend up to Oxford, he pursued his evil aims, rejoicing in his title of the Terror of the Thames. His manner and appearance did not calculate to please. His coat was torn and seedy. He was baggy at the knees, one ear was somewhat missing, no need to tell you why, and he scowled upon a hostile world from one forbidding eye. The cottagers of Rotherhithe knew something of his fame. At Hammersmith and Putney, people shuddered at his name. They would fortify the henhouse, lock up the silly goose, when the rumor ran along the shore, Growltiger's on the loose. Woe to the weak canary that fluttered from its cage. Woe to the pampered Pinckneys that faced Growltiger's rage. Woe to the bristly bandicoot that lurks on foreign ships, and woe to any cat with whom Growltiger came to grips. But most to cats of foreign race his hatred had been vowed. To cats of foreign name and race no quarter was allowed. The Persian and the Siamese regarded him with fear, because it was a Siamese that had mauled his missing heir. Now, on a peaceful summer night, all nature seemed to play. The tender moon was shining bright. The barge at Molesley lay. All in the balmy moonlight it lay rocking on the tide. And Growltiger was disposed to show his sentimental side. His bucko mate, Grumbuskin, long since had disappeared, for to the Bell at Hampton he had gone to wet his beard. And his boatswain, Tumble Brutus, he too had stolen away. In the yard behind the Lion he was prowling for his prey. In the forepeak of the vessel Growltiger sat alone, concentrating his attention on the lady Griddlebone. And his raffish crew were sleeping in their barrels and their bunks, as the Siamese came creeping in their sampans and their junks. Growltiger had no eye or ear for aught but Griddlebone, and the lady seemed enraptured by his manly baritone. Disposed to relaxation and awaiting no surprise, but the moonlight shone reflected from 1,000 bright blue eyes. And closer still and closer the sampan circled round, and yet from all the enemy there was not heard a sound. The lovers sang their last duet, in danger of their lives, for the foe was armed with toasting forks and cruel carving knives. Then Gilbert gave the signal to his fierce Mongolian horde. With a frightful burst of fireworks, the Chinks they swarmed aboard, abandoning their sampans, their poloways and junks. They battened down the hatches on the crew within their bunks. Then Griddlebone, she gave a screech, for she was badly scared. I am sorry to admit it, but she quickly disappeared. She probably escaped with ease, I'm sure. She was not drowned, but a serried ring of flashing steel Growltiger did surround. The ruthless foe pressed forward and stubborn rank on rank. Growltiger, to his vast surprise, was forced to walk the plank. He, who 100 victims had driven to that drop, at the end of all his crimes, was forced to go kerflip, kerflop. Oh, there was joy and wapping when the news flew through the land. At Maidenhead and Henley, there was dancing on the strand. Rats were roasted whole at Brentford and at Victoria Dock. And a day of celebration was commanded in Bangkok. In reading the poem, knowing the places, or at least familiarizing with yourself with the places that are in this, is important. T.S. Eliot was very familiar with the lay of London and the Thames, and a little bit of exploration on your part with the maps, Google Maps even, will come in handy. Go looking for the various places that are brought up. Gravesend, Oxford, those are basically the two ends of a line. It's the River Thames. Gravesend is approaching London from the sea. Oxford is the River Thames flows through Oxford, where there be universities. And figure out, just for your own mind, where the various villages are that T.S. Eliot makes mention of. Wapping, Maidenhead, Henley, Brentford, Victoria Dock. These are regular places.
Can you go on pronouncing them for us, please? Having struggled with the pronunciation of some of these places.
I can't say I'm pronouncing them right, quite honestly. Wapping, I think, is Wapping, and Maidenhead is Maidenhead. Henley, Brentford, Victoria Dock, I'm very, very comfortable with those. The river is called the Thames.
Not Thames.
Not Thames or Thames. Thames is right out. The River Thames.
I bet T.S. Eliot rhymed it with Ames just to see who he could catch pronouncing it wrong.
Yeah, he was like, I'm going to rhyme it with Ames. Ha, ha, ha. They're going to make mistakes. So first, familiarize yourself with the geography so that you aren't just spewing names that you have no knowledge of.
There's a temptation to rush this one.
Yeah, don't go too fast.
Don't go too fast, but don't go too slow either, because it's action-packed.
It is action-packed. The biggest danger with this poem is being sing-songy, because every other, line rhymes. So if you end up with the stop there. Break it up somehow. Make it into a more conversational form. It is an adventure. Stand on that, but don't go too fast. Don't rush through it, and don't go too slow, and don't sing song. Other than that, it's an adventure story. And so again, this is a winning poem because as an adventure story, everybody likes adventure stories. And if you tell it in such a way that it's exciting and fun, the judges will be caught up in it and they'll give you high marks. And that gives you the win.
Yeah, you can draw on the gravitas of the highwayman in the description of what he's wearing, how his coat was torn and seedy.
Also, at least in my reading, I'm not saying this is a correct interpretation, but oh, there was joy in Wapping reminds me of another place where there was no joy in Mudville.
Mudville, alas for Mudville.
And so there the same kind of roll and tone. I went with that to add some spice. Any other thoughts?
Maybe this is a time for Strunk and White's rule, where if you don't know how to pronounce something, say it loud.
Pekingese, Bandicoot, Tumble Brutus, Grumbuskin. His buckle mate Grumbunskin long since had disappeared, for to the Bell at Hampton he had gone to wet his beard. The Bell is a pub. Mm-hmm. He had gone to get some beer. And so it is described as wetting one's beard when one gets a beer and drinks it at the pub, particularly when you have a beard. That does come in handy. And I assume the Tumble Brutus was just off being a brute.
Looking for mice.
Looking for mice to hunt.
If you have heard cats fighting, or perhaps serenading one another, you know what this poem should sound like. Thank you for tuning in. This has been a production of DieCast Media Group. Please recommend us to friends, family, relations, but not your competitors. Feel free to email us with any questions at poetrydojo@diecastmediagroup.com. Tune in next time for another exciting episode and another fine poem.